Good evening. My name is Dan McLaughlin with Fox Sports Midwest, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this virtual celebration. And personally, I think I speak on behalf of everyone here. We are excited to be talking about the game of golf. Tonight, we are officially starting the countdown to the inaugural Ascension Charity Classic presented by Emerson. The official PGA Tour Champions event will now be played September 6th through the 12th, 2021, right here at Norwood Hills Country Club, so please mark your calendars. We have an exciting evening in store for you, and to get the night started, I'd like to invite Nick Ragone, Executive VP, Chief Marketing and Communications Officer of Ascension, to say a few words. Nick.
Thank you, Danny. It's good to have Dan's voice in our life again, right? We missed it for a few months. Go Cards. I want to say thank you, first of all. It is refreshing to be amongst friends again, and I know we all miss that, and doing it in a safe way, but it's good to see everybody. I'd be remiss in saying that I wasn't a little disappointed that we weren't holding the tournament this year, but obviously much bigger concerns in life, and I appreciate the way the community has rallied over the past year to support this event. And it was the right call for us to suspend it this year. We're already looking forward to next year. But I'm particularly blessed and fortunate and appreciative of the great partnership we have with Emerson. When we announced that this was the Ascension Charity Classic presented by Emerson, they did that during the height of COVID, during the surge. And for them to honor their commitment and step up speaks volumes, and it's everything you need to know about Emerson and their leadership and their CEO, Dave Farr, and my good friend, Kathy Button-Bell. And we are blessed. We are blessed to have them as a partner. We are blessed to have Worldwide as a partner as well. Again, another company that signed up during the surge when the world seemed upside down. And that says everything you need to know about those two companies and the fabric of this community in St. Louis and the DNA of our corporate partners. And so we're blessed and fortunate and excited. We have another year to plan for this event. We're also blessed and fortunate and excited to be sharing the excitement of this tournament. You know, the PGA Tour Champions and Ascension, our model, are both nonprofits. All the proceeds of these tournaments will go to our charities, and we have 3 of them with us today. And I just want to call out the extraordinary work that each one of them and many of our nonprofits in the area have been doing. You know, during COVID, nonprofits have struggled just like everybody else, and more so, they depend on us. They depend on their corporate partners and individuals and donors and gifts. And they've done extraordinary work during extraordinary times. And so I just want to call out all 3. Starting on our far left, we have Michael McMillan at the Urban League. The Urban League and Michael have been, for 7 months, working nonstop to support the community with food, with water, with supplies, with everything that they could possibly need. And it's just, we in St. Louis are lucky to have Michael and the Urban League doing what they do. North County is lucky, and so I just want to say thank you, Michael. And next to Michael, we have Flint Fowler of the Boys and Girls Club. Again, like the Urban League, for the last 7 months has been working around the clock to provide for our young people. You know, young people have been impacted as well. They need social contact, they need to be amongst each other, and they need a safe place. And so the Boys and Girls Club has done that, and Flint has been tireless. He's been in the community leading. And again, we partnered with them long before COVID, but it just reaffirmed how important this partnership is given the work that they've done. So thank you, Flint, for your leadership. And we have here closest to me Bob Porter of Marygrove on the board. And Marygrove is an extraordinary institution here in St. Louis, been around for over 35 years, and they really support abused and underserved kids who need help. They need a safe place. And again, like the other 2 organizations, Urban League and Boys and Girls Club, right now our kids in our community needs Marygrove, and they've been there every step of the way. And my wife is also on the board of Marygrove, and so it's a very dear and special place to us. And just want to thank you as well for your leadership. And we are so happy that even though we didn't have a tournament this year, and we're already looking for next year, we've maintained our charitable commitment. And so each one of these organizations have received $75,000 from the Ascension Charity Classic presented by Emerson. And we know that number is going to grow in the future, and that was without a tournament, without revenues, although we've had sponsors. And so We think that this is going to be a very long-term partnership, and every year we'll continue to grow our charitable proceeds. So again, thank you for your leadership, and thank you all. And with that, I want to turn it back to you, Dan.
Thank you, Nick. Ascension is clearly committed to this tournament and helping the North St. Louis community. That's evident. In fact, before we welcome our special guest to the screen, we would like to give our audience the chance to get to know our charities a little bit more. Here with me are representatives from each organization. And first, I'll start with Bob Porter, who is the board president for Marygrove. So, Bob, can you share with us just a little bit, a quick picture of how Marygrove is really helping our North St. Louis community and what you're doing?
Thank you, Dan. Delighted to do that, and thank you all. Marygrove, in terms of how it affects the community, I would say it pretty much starts with one child at a time. Children and young adults come to us with serious mental health, behavioral, and emotional issues that are the product of traumas that they've endured early in their life. And Marygrove seeks to restore their childhood and to develop the potential in them that otherwise would go to waste and make them productive, contributing citizens for our community, and give them the kind of life that they deserve, the people that they were meant to be. So we're really proud of the work that we do, and we're really grateful for all of you for all the support that you're giving to our good work.
Thanks for what you do. Appreciate it. Give him a round of applause, please. We hear so much about Boys and Girls Club, and Flint Fowler is with us. And Flint, tell us a little bit about what you're all doing, too.
We appreciate it, and thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to be here. The Boys and Girls Clubs over the last several months have really been working hard to meet the needs of children who have been out of school, providing programs virtually and actually having programs at our sites face-to-face and in person. We recognize that children learn best when they're part of a structured environment and they have a professional standing in front of them, teaching them. Unfortunately, many of our children, particularly those who need it most, have not had that opportunity. So we've been filling the gap, providing learning coaches, making calls to homes to ensure that young people are doing well, offering programs and services at 4 of our 9 club sites, as well as pushing out programming via the internet and our Facebook page. So we are maintaining contact with them, letting them know that there is someone concerned about their welfare and that we're going to be there to continue to help them grow, learn, and develop.
Bow tie is really sharp, too. Looks awesome. Thank you for being here. There is no doubt it has been such an unfamiliar world for our youth to navigate, clearly. So thank you for everything all you guys are doing. And last but certainly not least, we have Michael McMillan also here. And you are helping empower African Americans through the Urban League, Metropolitan St. Louis. So if you can dive into that and what you're doing.
Thank you. Well, good evening. It is truly a pleasure to be here tonight. I want to start off by thanking Nick and Steve and Carolyn from Ascension and the whole team that put this together, that had the vision and the foresight to do this for North County. Please give them another round of applause, and thanks for their hard work and dedication in the midst of this very unpredictable and chaotic year. I also want to thank our title sponsor, Emerson, and their CEO, David Farr, who is here. Please give them a big round of applause, and thanks for doing everything that they do in North County, whether it's the Boys and Girls Club, the Urban League, Marygrove, and countless other charities. Emerson, Ascension, and Worldwide Technology have impacted and helped all of us. We currently this year have served 75,000 families throughout North County, City, East St. Louis, and St. Clair County to have food, clothing, shelter, and assistance with masks, gloves, and sanitizer, on top of the 55 other programs that we run, providing assistance annually to 100,000 people. And we would not be the #1 urban league in the country without the support of our partners like Ascension. So we thank you, and we thank everyone here today that is going to make this tournament bigger and better for years to come, over not only just the next 4 years, but I predict that this is going to happen for the next few decades to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just an introduction to the partnerships, the Ascension Charity Classic presented by Emerson, already has with these incredible charitable organizations. So Bob, Flint, Michael, we greatly appreciate you joining us today. Give them another huge round of applause, please. So stay tuned for our next segment with 3 golf legends, and we will be right back. And it's going to be about 60 seconds.
Amazing. Yeah, Jim.
We don't want hecklers in the stands already. We're back live, Ragone, so settle down. We know it's your tournament, all right? Calm down. All right, welcome back, everybody. As we move into the next segment of our program, we have the privilege of PGA Tour champions, professional Billy Andrade, being with us here tonight. Give him a huge round of applause.
Thank you.
Okay, he's got 4 PGA Tour victories, 3 PGA Tour champion victories to his name. Big deal? That's pretty good, isn't it? No.
Not tonight.
Not tonight is right. You stole my line. He has done TV work for the Golf Channel. He is an active philanthropist himself and just an all-around good guy. That's on the prompter, though. Is he a good guy? Yeah, he's a pretty good guy. Okay. Most recently became an Ascension ambassador, proudly wearing the Ascension logo on his left sleeve each time he is on the course competing. Please welcome to St. Louis, Billy Andrade.
Thank you, Dan. It's certainly a privilege to be here, although I wish we were playing golf to raise critical dollars for these 3 great charities here, wonderful organizations. I'm so glad to have the opportunity for this incredible virtual experience that we're going to have tonight. The conversations are going to be great. 3 legends that I admired and respected for years and years, on and off the golf course. Before we get started, I want to let our viewing audience know that if you have the opportunity to submit questions for our special guests through the chat function that you see on the right-hand side at the bottom of your screen, your questions will be submitted anonymously, and we plan to pick a few for the end of our conversation tonight, unless Jack gets long-winded. So keep listening to see if your question is selected. Without further ado, we have 3 of the golf greats and World Golf Hall of Fame members who have joined us virtually tonight. Let me introduce to you our first, will be right here, Mr. Hale Irwin. Hale raised his own family right here in St. Louis. He credits living here for his success. 20 victories on the PGA Tour, including 3 U.S. Opens. Hale also took the PGA Tour champions by storm, winning 45 times. Did you ever go home? He also captured 2 U.S. Senior Open championships. Everybody welcome Hale Irwin. Can you hear me, Hale?
I can hear you, Billy.
Wonderful.
You hear me?
I can. The last
Thank
time.
you.
The last
It's a
time.
pleasure to be here.
Okay, wonderful. Our second Hall of Famer, we want to please welcome Mr. Tom Watson, well-known Missouri native, remains a Kansas City resident, a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan right now. Tom has won 39 times on the PGA Tour, 14 more on the Champions Tour. It's great to have you, Tom. How's everything back in Kansas City?
It's great in Kansas City. The fall is starting, the leaves are turning, and the thoughts are with the Chiefs and carry on from last year.
Awesome. And finally, our third, what can you say? 120 times he won worldwide, 18 majors, which is simply amazing. What he's done with his wife Barbara on and off the course has been spectacular, both in Ohio and in Florida. 6 Masters, 5 PGAs, 4 U.S. Opens, 3 Open Championships. We're so glad to have Jack Nicklaus with us as well.
Thanks, Billy.
You know, but before we get started, guys, I just wanted off the screen record here and say, I never knew what Zoom was. I never knew what Snapchat. I never knew what Skype. But it's pretty amazing to be able to get all 3 of you here with this wonderful group here tonight, here with Ascension. We really appreciate you, the 3 of you being here. So I just want to hope that I can do a better job than Chris Wallace did the other night. So I don't want you all talking over each other. We want to try to make this as civil as possible, if that's okay with you guys.
That will not be hard after what Wallace did.
I'll talk over Jack. I'll talk over Hale. We can do this.
We can make it happen.
All right, the first question I have for all 3 of you is, a couple weeks ago was the U.S. Open. Pretty incredible what Bryson DeChambeau did, shooting 6 under. The way he attacked the golf course. I'll ask you, Hale, first. You won the U.S. Open at Winged Foot, and you were 7 over. And this kid was the only player to be under par. He was 6 under. What were your thoughts watching versus winning it yourself?
Well, I think all of us will chime in and say the same thing, that Winged Foot in '74 played extremely difficult. The technology advances since then, I think, has made the game different. Now it seems to be, you bomb it out there and gouge it onto the green somewhere. You could not do that in '74, as Tom and Jack and I are all too familiar with that rough. It was just a very, very difficult course, and I've said often that it was the hardest course I've ever played, where wind and rain, weather conditions were not an issue. But I think what Bryson did, he's put on notice what the new game is going to be. It's going to be long ball. It's going to be accuracy doesn't count so much as it used to, but length is everything. And give the man credit. He did exactly what he wanted to do. He played it to his plan, his goal, and even though it may be a bit unorthodox for some, he sure made it work.
Tom, you arguably one of the most dramatic U.S. Open victories back at Pebble Beach. Sorry, Jack.
No offense, Jack.
What did that win mean to you back in 1982 and being the toughest test and putting your name on that U.S. Open trophy?
Well, I always wanted to win the U.S. Open more than any other tournament. To be honest with you, my dad was a U.S. Open lover. He knew all the champions from 1895 on, and he always said, son, if you win the U.S. Open, you've beaten the best on the toughest golf course. And I just have to say this: I played with Hale the last round at Winged Foot in 1974 when he won at 7 over par. And the 2-iron that he hit at 18 was spectacular. You don't know how tough that green is just to put the ball on the green. And he did it and two-putted to beat Forrest Fesler by 2. But I concur with Hale. Wingfoot is probably the toughest golf course day in and day out that we've ever played. But it's a fair golf course. It's just it's a typical U.S. Open. It should be a typical U.S. Open test with high rough and firm greens. The USGA, I think, has finally gotten back to playing a U.S. Open the way it should be, with narrow fairways, high rough, and tough conditions.
Jack, Bryson DeChambeau won your tournament in 2018, the Memorial. Bryson also joined you and Tiger Woods as the only 3 to win the NCAA title, the U.S. Amateur, and the U.S. Open. Can you talk to us what it takes to win those 3 tournaments?
Well, okay, first of all, I'll get back. I want to say a couple words about Wingfoot. In '74, I started out 4-putt, 3-putt, 3-putt. I don't think you have to go any further than that.
So,
But anyway,
so how'd you do on the 4th hole?
I actually 2-putted it for bogey. I think to win those 3 tournaments are all tournaments you have as you grow up. I mean, obviously the first one you're going to probably run into, could be the U.S. Amateur, but it could be the NCAA. They're about the same time for most of the young guys, and they're a growing experience. NCAA is it's always a good test. It's always today it's a different event. It's medal play for the individual championship, and then it's match play for the team. And it used to be qualify with medal and win with the match play, and that's what I did, what I wanted, and I thought it was a great event to win, and it was I felt very good about it. U.S. Amateur, I loved. I played in the U.S. Amateur, I don't know, I think 7 times, I think. And, I wanted it Broadmoor and I wanted it Pebble Beach. And I loved it both times because, to me, the way Joe Dye used to set up a golf course, which is, he sort of ran the USGA, was that he set up the golf course for the juniors were modestly narrow, modest rough. The Amateur was a little narrower fairways, a little more serious rough. U.S. Open, a little narrower yet, and a little higher rough. And he just sort of, he can did the golf course to sort of the level of play. And the U.S. Open is always, I agree with Tom, that they've now gotten back to the old way of playing it. And, to win the U.S. Open is a test. It should be a test. And it, when you get a guy like Hale Irwin who's won it 3 times, and, if you go back to the golf courses that he won it on, what he had to do is he had to drive it straight, and he had to be able to get it out of the rough when he needed to get it out of the rough, and he needed to chip it and get it in the hole when he had to get in the hole. And that's what you do to win the U.S. Open. Bryson last week did a couple weeks ago did it a little differently. I never thought about hitting it as far as they hit it, but they do that today. They just hit it so far it's unbelievable, and they hack a wedge out of there. They can get a wedge out of that rough. Couldn't get a 5-iron out of that rough, but they could get a wedge out of it.
So all 3 of you have won every award imaginable. You've each received honors and awards over the years, including membership into the World Golf Hall of Fame. Honestly, the list goes on and on between the 3 of you. I'm curious to know which honor or award meant the most to you or did perhaps identify with the best. Jack, let me start with you.
Well, the biggest award I've got is my 5 kids and 22 grandkids. That to me is my award in life. As it relates to other things, that's not golf. I'm very proud of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the Congressional Gold Medal, and the Lincoln Medal, and those are all things were given to me by Congress or the President, and it was they were very, very special.
Hale, what or whom do you attribute your success to, and perhaps which awards stand out to you the most?
Oh, Billy, these 2 gentlemen that I'm sharing this time with, they've always been men that I really respect and looked up to for a long time. They've shown how the game of golf should be played. They've shown how family and friends should be treated. So they were as big influence in my life as anybody on the professional side, as well as on the personal side. And I think there's a lot can be said about family. You know, my wife, Sally, and our kids, they've been such great supporters for all these years, and just the community in which we grew up as a kid, and then later on right there in St. Louis, the values that were passed down through the community and then on to my children. There's a lot of people out there that you can thank, and the list can go on, but that would be the top of my list.
And you, Tom?
Well, I concur with my two friends right there. The most important thing in life is your family. I've had two different families, and I've been blessed with love and sharing great times with them. If you put it in a career perspective, my career, winning the U.S. Open, I think was the most important event that I won. And frankly, when I went into that, I was playing terribly, and I found a light switch that went on Friday afternoon in the practice range, and then I ran the tables there. Had a lucky chip at number 17 and beat some guy from, where was it, Columbus? I don't know where the hell.
You finally admitted it, huh?
But I have to tell you the story about when I came off that green. Jack was waiting for me off the 18th green at Pebble Beach in 1982 when I just won the tournament I wanted to win the most. And he grabbed me by the shoulders, and he looked at me sternly in the eyes like this, and he said, "You did it to me again, you little son of a bitch." And what he was referring to was back in '77, I hold a no-brainer from off the green at 15 at Turnberry to get back to even in the Open Championship, and eventually went on to beat him by a stroke there. But I've always appreciated Jack's humor, the way he takes. He called me after 2009 and at Turnberry again. And he stuck the needle in me when I was really down, and made me laugh. You can't have better friends than that. People who've been inside the arena, knowing how you feel. Getting back to what Hale said, the people that we've met out here, we've associated with, we've become friends with. That's the most important thing.
That's great. Special connections to courses. As a player, I know there are certain courses that I just connect with. It feels like home, or perhaps I've had a certain positive experience. Perhaps several places are coming to mind right now, but I'm curious about a couple for each of you. Hale, through your playing and golf course design careers you have, no doubt I have a specific course or courses that's your favorite, whether because of a win or an experience. What course first comes to mind for you?
Oh boy. I think through the years, I have really enjoyed playing the traditional courses, the older courses, the masters of camouflage and how they put the courses together. But oddly enough, and I shouldn't say oddly, but I've had great success at Jack's course at Muirfield Village. I've won a couple times there. I've lost 2 playoffs there. So I guess as far as that goes, I'd have to say Muirfield Village. But as far as it goes, I've always looked at a Winged Foot, a Pinehurst number 2, a Pebble Beach. And if I had to play a course over and over again the rest of my life, it might be a Cypress Point, simply because it's an old course. It's got sand, it's got ocean, it's got trees, it's got the mixture of what we kind of look for as players. But I think anything that tests your skills to the utmost are the courses that I've enjoyed playing. I've had the greatest success at.
Tom, we're here at Norwood Hills Country Club, also a special place for you because of a personal relationship. In fact, there's a plaque here commemorating your relationship with your caddy, Bruce Edwards. Could you share that story?
Well, in 1973, I was just married, and I just came back to the tournament in the middle of the summer at Norwood Hills, and I walked in the parking lot with my McGregor golf bag over my shoulders, and is walking to register, and here comes this long-haired young kid, and he comes up to me. He said, "Tom, I'm Bruce Edwards. Do you need a caddy?" And I said, "Well, I do." I said, "Could I caddy for you?" He said, "Well, hold on there. Let's talk about this. Where are you from?" And I gave him not the third degree, but maybe the second degree. And I said, "Sure, come on, let's give it a shot." Well, that shot lasted for over 30 years. And sadly, he passed away from that terrible disease, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And there is a plaque there at Norwood Hills commemorating our first time we got together. I finished 6th in that tournament, and he came to, after it was over, he was really excited because that was a lot of dough for him. And he said, "Can I caddy for you the rest of the year?" I just said, "Hold on here, kid. This kind of go a week at a time." And of course, that week at a time, as I said, lasted over 30 years.
How much was that 6th place check? Do you remember?
It was, I believe, it was $6,500.
And you paid him 10%.
3%.
3%. Oh,
Yeah.
boy, you got, man, 3%.
Really generous, wasn't it?
And how much did you pay? How much was his salary for the week?
$15 a day.
No.
Yeah, that was it, wasn't it, Hale? 15 a day and 3%.
Oh, I didn't know it was that high, Tom. No wonder I didn't get a regular caddy.
Jack, I know you would never pay that low. I would anticipate. Say what?
$18 a day.
18? I would anticipate that Muirfield Village Golf Club is coming to mind for you, especially with the renovations you have been doing. Tell us what comes to mind when you think of Muirfield Village Golf Club.
Well, Muirfield is kind of a symbol for me in many ways, Billy. 1966, I was at Augusta, and we were saying what a great tournament it was, and wouldn't it be nice to bring something like this back to Columbus, Ohio, where I grew up, where the people supported me, and it was my contribution back to Central Ohio. Well, I ended up getting it done, getting the tournament started, had the first tournament in '76. Hale lost to the playoff in that tournament. Roger Maltby beat him. I remember a lot of the wins there. Tom had 2 wins at Muirfield. I had 2 wins at Muirfield. Hale had 2 wins at Muirfield. Muirfield's a very special place to me for what it symbolically means to me. As it relates to playing golf, I mean, it's hard for me to choose one of my own golf courses for that. I love Pebble Beach. I love playing Pebble Beach. I had great success there. Obviously loved Augusta. Had great success there. I played really well at Firestone. I don't know, but I won a lot of tournaments at Firestone. And of course, at St. Andrews, I won a couple of times. So, got a lot of golf courses that I love. I love playing golf, and I love the variety. To me, to play one golf course all the time would be difficult. But we've had the blessings to be able to play a lot of golf courses and take tournaments to the best golf courses in the world. And it's always been great experiences and fun playing. Sometimes you don't play well, sometimes you do, but it's a game of golf, and it's been great.
That's awesome. We really touched on the family aspect. I don't think we have to go more into that, so we're going to go to question 5 and go to there. And that's the difference between one stroke. Here's one we can all identify with all too well, the difference of one stroke, which can result in taking that top spot on the leaderboard or not. Jack and Tom, what immediately comes to mind when thinking of both of you is Turnberry, the '77 Open Championship, famously dubbed the Duel in the Sun?
Oh, you mean I want to talk about that little SOB?
Well, Jack, you can't remember anything you did.
I'm going to start to think, people have asked me, do you ever have a shot in your life that you'd like to, do over? And I said, yeah, Watson's chip at Pebble Beach, Trevino's chip at Muirfield, Scotland. There weren't shots of mine, but Tom played a great shot at
Turnberry.
Pebble Beach.
Oh.
And then that great putt he holed across the green. I was in about 15 feet. He was about 50 feet. And he holed that thing off the edge of the fringe. And all of a sudden my jaw just dropped. I said, I had one shot lead, looking to go to 2 shots, and boom, now we're even. And we had a great event there. That was one of the most fun events I've ever played. Tom and I got the same score every round till the last round. And Tom shot 65 in the last round. I shot 66. But what's really neat about it is that is, I think we were walking, it was about the 13th fairway, Tom, or 12th, something like that. You looked over at me and said, this is what it's all about, isn't it? And it is what it's all about. It was about the competition of having fun, playing the game, 2 guys trying to beat each other's brains out, but still, respecting each other's games and them as persons and how they handle themselves. That's what's great about the game of golf, to be able to go out there with our guys and get beat or win and shake hands at the end and say congratulations, well done. Hey, let's go have some dinner. That's what golf's all about. It's kind of neat.
In 1983, Hale, you won the Memorial Tournament. Was there somebody close behind that you were dueling down at the end? And how was that?
Oh, I don't know if it was anybody really. As long as you win, you don't really care, right? But I think when you're sitting there with the lead and you're watching others come in that could tie or perhaps beat you, it's a little nerve-wracking, but there's nothing you can do about it. It's as Jack said, golf is there. You either do it or you don't, and in the end, you can pack up and go on to the next week and try again. And we've had all sorts of, between the 3 of us, we've had all sorts of great experiences watching others beat us in the end or winning in the end. And none of them really stand out other than the fact that you gave it your best. And by doing so, I think you can walk away and give yourself a pat on the back, whether you win or not. If you do your best, that's all you can give.
Jack, in 1994, you won your last PGA Champions Tour event, official event, at the Tradition.
96.
And
96.
in 96. And who finished second, and do you think that person was not happy about finishing second?
There's somebody that I can't recall who it was, but he was absolutely so upset that I made a deuce on a par 5 in the last round.
Right.
And I think he's sitting here close to me. And it was his tournament. He had that tournament won, and I made an eagle on 12 in the 3rd round, and I hold an 8-iron for a double eagle on the last round. And all of a sudden, here comes somebody along that wasn't even in the tournament to get a chance to win. That wouldn't be you, would it, Hale?
I don't know what you're talking about, Jack. I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, those were, you talk about times that you remember or times you try to forget. Those were times where I was amazed at the magic that Jack Nicklaus had. I'm amazed at the magic that Tom Watson has had. And everyone sitting in that room ought to be amazed at these 2 gentlemen, what they've been able to accomplish in the game. I've had a front row seat watching it, and it has been absolutely fantastic. Whether you enjoy it or not at the time, but when you look at it in the bigger picture, it has been absolutely fantastic to watch these gentlemen do what they do best.
Let's talk about charity. And with all these great, wonderful moments in golf, we get to experience what comes a platform and what I would consider a respectability to give back, as we're doing tonight. Each of you have been very philanthropic over the years. Tom, you have done a lot of charity work over the years for ALS, Children's Healthcare, and growing the game of golf. What has inspired you over the years to do this help with so many causes?
Well, the game of golf is the best at fundraising for charity. I don't know how many, are we over $2 billion now in charity funds on the PGA Tour? I think we are.
Yes.
Very close to it.
Yes.
You know, everybody in the room there, and me included, you play golf with hacks, and hacks like to play golf with you. And you can't do it in other sports. So we go out and we play in charitable events with people who want to play with us. And we raise significant funds. Over the years, I've raised funds for Children's Mercy Hospital, for ALS, for substance abuse, for suicide, for wounded vets. I have a platform, and I want to use that platform to help organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, the Urban League, and Mary Grove there in St. Louis. It's what we do. It's easy to do, and it's so beneficial for the people we're trying to do it for.
Tom, I will tell you that I played today, and there were a lot of hacks out there today. Yeah, just to let you know. Jack, you and Barbara have also created an incredible extension to your career by helping others. You've raised millions of dollars for many charities over the years, in particular for the children's health care through your Nicholas Children's Healthcare Foundation and Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio. Tell us how the thought to give back started and how it has grown over the years.
Well, Billy, ours started back in 1966, and our daughter Nan was in the hospital. She was 11 months old, and she was choking on for something. We didn't know why. And finally, we got her down to the hospital, and it was Nationwide Children's Hospital, Columbus Children's Hospital, and Nationwide now. And they found a shadow in her windpipe, and it turned out to be a crayon. And they went down and tried to get this crayon out. It broke up, went down her lungs. She went into pneumonia. She was in an oxygen tent for about 6 days. They didn't know whether she was going to make it or not. And as Barbara and I were sitting out there in the waiting room, we said, you know, we're not in a position now, but maybe someday we will be. And if we're ever in a position we want to help people, we want it to be children. So from day one, the memorial tournament has benefited the Nationwide Children's Hospital. We started our own Nicholas Children's Healthcare Foundation in Florida a little over 15 years ago. And that blossomed into us getting involved with Miami Children's, which is now Nicholas Children's, and that children's hospital and 17 outpatient clinics. And we've raised several $100 million for that. And, you know, every week on the tour, though, we go to a different tournament or we go to a different place, and we're raising money for different causes. You have causes in St. Louis, they have causes in Ohio, they have causes in Kansas City and Phoenix. And, you know, each of those are all great causes, and that's what the tours build on. The tours build on giving back. As Tom said, the tours raised over $2 million, and professional golf each year gives more money to charity, raises more money for charity than all other major sports combined. I mean, golf has been a phenomenal platform to raise money and to help others. And, you know, I think we all feel the same way, that we're proud to be part of it.
Hale, you've also had a deep history giving back. In fact, you've have given to the Pediatric Hematology Oncology unit at St. Louis's Children's Hospital, which carries your name. What makes charitable work so important to you, and how would you encourage younger players to find that passion?
I think all you have to do, Billy, is look at the people in front of you that have gone before you and what they've done to establish themselves as great people. We can look at Tom and Jack's records, for instance, and it's very, very impressive. But you see what they've done away from the golf course, which is even more impressive. And you build upon that. You try and find those issues that maybe are fundamentally close to your heart. But just like Jack said, children have always been my go-to. I love the veterans. I love all the others. But children, if you give them a chance in life, who knows what they can do when they get older and become our citizens. So I've always been partial to the children's, but there is no bad charity. They're all very capable. They're all very worthy. And those of us that have the ability and have the means to help out, I think it behooves us we owe that to ourselves, if nothing else. Just be selfish and give of yourself to somebody is I think, one of life's goals in my world.
That's fabulous. I did a Zoom chat with Tom Watson back, when the Zoom thing started for the Mitsubishi Electric, and that damn dog was barking then too. What is going on with your dog? You need to put that dog outside, Tom.
Now wait a minute. I'm at home now. Come on. Hey, Bill, I have to ask Jack a question here.
Sure.
Get off the subject just a little.
Sure.
A story has been attributed to you, Jack. You were playing with one of these hacks one time, and this hack was really getting pretty obstreperous on the golf course. He was cursing, he was throwing his clubs, and he was just beating the club in the ground and things like that. I want to know if this story was true. Did you go up to the guy and say, "Hey, buddy, you're not good enough to get mad"?
I don't think the story's true, but I should have. Well, it's I'm sure that you handle with your kids, and I'm sure we've all had with ours. I mean, I remember playing when Jackie was 11 years old, and we were playing we were actually playing Spyglass. I was out practicing for the U.S. Open, and Jackie went down the first hole, and he was pounding his club. He was mad at his shot here, and he was mad at the shot there. And we got down to the first green, and I said, "Jackie, what are you doing? I think we're going to just pack that bag up and we're going to walk right back to the clubhouse," which we did. And, I never had another problem with him on the golf course. And I don't know about that hack. That hack could have been my son, because he wasn't any better at that point in time. But you got to learn. My dad did that to me. I remember the 15th hole at Scioto. I was 11 years old. I hit a tee shot out there and had an 8-iron to the green, and I missed the green, and I threw my 8-iron and followed the ball the club followed the ball right into the trap. And my dad said, "Okay, we'll go get that club. We're going back to the clubhouse. And as far as I'm concerned, you're never going to play golf again unless you can behave yourself and handle yourself properly." Well, it was a great lesson for me. I passed that same lesson on to my son. And whether that story was true or not, we should have passed it on to that guy too.
Our final question has been really already answered. Before we go to the virtual audience for a question or two, and I think Jack answered the question, which was each of you have won the same tournament twice, and Jack brought it up a little while back, and it was the Memorial. You've each won the Memorial twice. So, way to go, Jack. Thanks for
I ruined your question.
taking care of that. All right, we have a child sit here. I'm 13 years old and want to play college golf. Any suggestions on how to practice and prepare? We'll start with Hale.
13 years old? Well, I would say, first of all, enjoy other sports as well. I think
Amen.
there's a lot of cross-training there that will benefit your golf. So don't just play golf, whether it be swimming, basketball, soccer, it matters little. Just do other sports as well. Secondly, make sure you study, because I think the mind is the strongest club you'll ever have in your bag. So make sure you're educated. And thirdly, play as much as you can. That doesn't mean you're playing every day, but hitting balls is great. But I think sometimes getting out on the golf course when you can will give you a better feel for shot making rather than just working on the practice tee. Each is important, but at the same time, kind of keep all those other elements in your mind as your game develops.
Jack?
That was a great answer. Great answer, I think Dale's absolutely, he hit it right on the nose.
Yeah.
I think that playing all sports is great. And when you're 13 years old, you don't have any idea where you're going to go. Whether it's going to be golf, football, baseball, basketball, whatever it might be. And go have fun. Go enjoy it. Develop your mind, develop your game, and play. Get as much mileage on your golf game as you can get. I think your answer was perfect.
Tom?
I have two things to add. The two things I would tell this 13-year-old is the first thing is always keep your score. Know what you've shot, and that keeps you in the game. Whether you play by yourself with other people, keep your score. The other thing is, I think, is a very important thing. You've got to practice your short game. You've got to practice your short game 50% of the time. Chipping, putting, bunker play, all kinds of lies around the greens, because if you get that down, those are your scoring clubs, and you're not going to hit every green. 13, you're probably going to get longer and longer and longer. The next 2 or 3 years, you're going to see a different golf course. But don't forget, that short game is most important.
Awesome. I think we're done here. Okay. A question from our audience. What do you three think about playing the Masters coming up here in November? We'll start with Tom.
Well, I think you're going to see a different golf course. Jack actually, he knows more about the golf course in November than I do. I never played it in November, but I suspect it's going to be in better shape in November than it is in April. I think the greens will have, the grass will be better from a putting standpoint in the greens. And the other thing is it can get a little cold, and you might see some turtlenecks and beanie caps and cart gloves on these kids playing the Masters. So it ought to be interesting.
Well, gentlemen, this has been amazing. It's truly been a privilege to be with you tonight, and it's great to see all of you. You all look fantastic. Stay healthy out there, and we look forward to chatting with you again sometime soon. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great job.
Back to you.
Yeah, great job. Let's give them another round of applause. They were absolutely fantastic. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, let's give Billy a round of applause. He was fantastic, too. Nick, Steve, all the folks that support the Ascension Charity Classic, thank you, and we'll see you in September. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you.